With the Biden economy going from bad to worse, well, the decrepit, declining, weak, and desperate commander-in-chief, he's playing one blame game after another and spewing one big lie after another, and quite frankly, embarrassing our entire country every single day. It is so beyond humiliating. And with just 25 days, that's right, until these all-important midterm elections, even Republicans in deep blue states now, like New York and Michigan, they are now surging in the polls. We have full coverage straight ahead on all of these key races. Now, these are the most important midterm races possibly in our lifetime, possibly in the history of this great republic. My words cannot possibly convey the urgency I am feeling for the country that we all love. Because after yesterday's dismal inflation news, another 40-year high, common sense Americans, they are rightly concerned about their future. They are rightly losing confidence in Joe Biden and the new extreme socialist climate cult alarmist Democrats. And by the way, we have a new AP poll out. Look at this. 46% of our fellow Americans consider their personal financial situation to be poor. Poor. Remember, average families paying $7,200 more than they were paying under Donald Trump for the exact same items, bare necessities. Now, remember, it was Biden and his failed administration. They repeatedly lied to us. Remember, inflation, it is only transitory. Then, inflation is now peaked. I think it's peaked. That we have zero inflation on the day it came out to be a 40-year high, or that inflation wouldn't be that bad at all. It was lie after lie after lie. Here's a quick trip down memory lane, month after month after month of Joe Biden's economic hell. Take a look.
Cost of the Build Back Better bill in terms of adding to the deficit is zero. Zero. The cost of these bills in terms of adding to the deficit is zero. It's all paid for. Some folks have raised worries that this could be a sign of persistent inflation, but that's not our view.
Over time, as the economy is turning back on, we'd see some of these transitory effects.
Increases in prices are likely to have only transitory effects on inflation.
Transitory
effects. Today's inflation report confirmed what Americans already know. Putin's price hike is hitting America hard. Oil companies and shipping companies. Republicans in Congress are doing everything they can to stop my plans to bring down costs.
Today we learned that last month our economy had 0% inflation.
I just want to say a number, zero. Today's report shows, though, some progress. Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months.
All right, so ask yourself, given all of these lies for now almost a full year, all this Democratic deceit, all the Democratic deception, how could anyone trust them with more power, more control, and the ability to ruin your life in every way imaginable? Look at the stock market. It is continuing to crater. 401ks, your retirement is suffering. Crime is surging in small towns and big cities all across the country because what? No bail laws, defund, dismantle the police. Innocent, law-abiding Americans suffer more now than ever. Our border is wide open, and it's as bad as it has ever been, and we still have 2.5 months left in the year. We set a record from last year. And even Americans' nuclear fears now are surging to the highest level since the Cold War as Biden's empty threats, weak diplomacy continue to fail in pretty much every way imaginable. Joe Biden caused all of this. He said we're in the worst position in terms of nuclear war potential since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Talked about nuclear Armageddon. And then what did he do? He went on vacation. In all seriousness, have you ever seen one man, one party, one political movement fail this much, this fast? Everything Democrats now have touched has been made worse, on steroids, actually. And it's why extreme far-left socialist Democrats are trying to run away from their records. This is happening all over the country, all ahead of the critical midterm elections. It's why so many Democrats are now avoiding that guy, Joe Biden, at all costs. They don't want him on the campaign trail. Tim Ryan in Ohio, he's trying to hide his failed record, his support of all things Joe, his support of New Green Deal socialism. He's also avoiding Joe Biden. Mark Kelly, Arizona, 97% of the time votes with Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer. He's a rubber stamp for everything that has gone bad. And by the way, Joe Biden, he's also given him the cold shoulder as well as Tim Ryan. We're seeing the same story play out in race after race, state after state. Democrats, they're hiding from debates. They're hiding from the voters. The media is complicit. They are giving them a free pass. They are never demanding answers to any tough questions. They're not having to answer for their radical positions that they hold. It is the Biden basement bunker strategy. They're trying to run away from their failed far left records. And I can't say I blame them. Probably the only defense they have. And that's why with only 25 days until the midterms, there are more and more signs of the GOP gaining momentum. And even former Clinton pollster Mark Penn says the GOP is now inching closer to a wave election as economic issues like inflation, with record gas prices, record crime, record murder, open borders continue to be at the top of voters' minds, and it should be. For example, we're now seeing Republicans all across the country. They're surging at just the right time. You see it with Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania. You see it with J.D. Vance in Ohio. You see it with Adam Laxalt in Nevada. You see it with Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. And yep, Herschel Walker is this close now to overtaking Raphael Warnock. And even in deep blue Oregon, the Republican candidate out there, Christine Drazan, now she's opened a big lead against the far left Democratic candidates because Democrats are vulnerable. They cannot defend their failed records. They cannot defend the record of their party. They cannot defend their president either. Because also developing tonight, even more evidence of what appears to be a massive midterm election meddling scandal, and it surrounds Joe Biden. I'm sure that the mob and the media is going to ignore this. But imagine, as I tell you this story, if the last name were Trump, if it was President Trump that did this. We know now, as confirmed by the Saudis themselves, that Saudi Arabia and OPEC Plus, the plus which includes Russia, that they denied Joe Biden's request to increase oil production. And not only that, they told Joe Biden they would be decreasing their oil production. And then instead of trying to negotiate or saying, the hell with you, we're going to go back to energy independence, it turns out the Saudis are telling us that Joe Biden, his administration, then was begging the Saudis to hold off on oil cuts and an announcement of oil cuts until after November. So I'll ask again, did your President Joe Biden attempt to collude with the Saudis, with OPEC nations, with Russia in a way that would impact the 2022 midterm elections? In other words, hide their failure, hide the disastrous policies that they're guilty of? The answer is obvious. What's worse is not only did they refuse to increase production of oil, they decreased it. That's a slap in the face. And after Biden mentioned retaliation, they said, you know what? We're going to expose what your plan was, and that is to get us to be quiet and collude with you and hide this fact from the American people in the lead up to a midterm election in America. So collusion with hostile foreign countries to influence the outcome of elections. This is now a Democratic Party in complete and utter disarray, doubling down on the most destructive agenda in our nation's history. Now, imagine if Donald Trump was asking the Saudis, was asking OPEC, was asking Russia, don't announce that you're not going to increase production, that you're going to decrease production. Just wait a month. What do you think the media would be saying? Would they be accusing him of colluding with foreign entities, hostile nations, to influence the election? I'm pretty sure you'd be hearing it every second, every minute, every hour of every day. And it's why some prominent Democrats now are leaving the party altogether. Former Democratic presidential candidate and Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard announced her departure from the party earlier this week. She cited censorship, denial of objective truth, far left-wing lunacy. Take a look.